right, y'all, welcome to week 4, section 4, principles. We've been talking about awareness and mindfulness and how they work together, big picture, day to day. And then the last chapter in values, we talked about how values are very similar to the big picture format like awareness is. And principles, this is one of my favorites. This is how you put that into action daily. Just like you do with mindfulness daily in conversations, making sure it's contributing to your awareness. Principles help you activate day-to-day values. And so this is very simple. Remember, we're keeping on with the simple, strategic, steady, or slow process. None of this is overnight. I do want to read you the quote at the beginning of this because I really like it. And it's by Robert Greene, his book, The Laws of Human Nature. He's also the author of The 48 Laws of Power, which is an incredibly popular book, and I've got a stack of his books back there behind me because they're really good. So here's the quote. If you do not see things clearly, your emotions will feel their way into the cracks and force you to react in ways that further harm your position. And I thought that was really, really true. And it meant a lot to me that if I'm not seeing myself clearly, if I'm not activating awareness and mindfulness in my life, I allow my emotions to seep in and ultimately poison or become toxic in the way I respond, in the way I process it. So principles, just like mindfulness is like an assistant coach on the field, you're activating your values through your principles. And it's a very simple, almost so simple, it's like there's got to be more to it than this, and really there's not. For example, gratitude was one of my initial values in life, and it's actually one that's still there. What I would do was I would write down the things every so often that I was grateful for, especially when I was feeling a little bit of depression or darkness in my life, and I was being overcome by a scenario that may or not have been true, or a situation that I'd been in that I didn't like, and I was trying to fight and find my way out of it. Gratitude, I'm telling you, is a great one. If you don't know, or if you're not sure which values to start with, I would encourage you just to start with gratitude. It's such a good one. Add that to your list. But what you will do with gratitude, you write down everything that you're grateful for. My spouse, hopefully that's one of them. Your children, if you have children. Your home, your job, your career. A friend, a family member. Doesn't have to be all your family unless you just are grateful for all your family. Hopefully you are. Things you've been able to do, whether it be school, education, in my case, books I've gotten to read. It could be anything. Make the list. And inevitably what it does is it shifts the condition of your mind away from the things that you're dwelling on that are negative and slowly turns them into positive. And over time, your mind gets used to that happening, and you can pull yourself out of a depressive or dark or negative state a little quicker than you could before, if at all. And it's a great tool. So just writing those things down that you're grateful for. And then every morning for a while I would get up and I would look at those things and I would go, oh yeah. Just starting your day with things that you're grateful for. And then right before you go to bed, read through that list or rewrite it. Some people rewrite their gratitude list every morning and then they rewrite it again every night. I found that I didn't necessarily have to do that. Just reading through it would shift my mind. Some people, though, would need to write it. So the principle of it is that writing that down, it is activating a value in my life. It is making, because you can write down just a gorgeous list of values and it not do a thing. But if you apply some steps that will bring about those values, and it's going to take a little effort, a little change, it's going to take a little time for those things to become embedded into you, but over time it will, like we've talked about it in the last few chapters, it begins to recode, reprogram the way you think. Remember, our minds are malleable. They are neuroplastic. They can be, your mind, your brain can physiologically be changed. And so your mind is always looking for habits to form, to develop. And I don't want to get too far into that. That's a fun one for me. But your mind is always looking to find a pattern. It's always looking for speed. And anything that it picks up on, this all goes on subconsciously, it's trying to form a pattern. And so this is breaking up old patterns, old ways of thinking, and creating new ones. A lot of times these negative habits or unintentional habits form over years and years and years without us even knowing. So when we get to the point where we've recognized that we have these negative habits and patterns and we start trying to change them, don't get frustrated that they don't happen overnight. They're not going to. You will be disappointed, frustrated, and you'll resort back to familiarity of what you've always done. So just know, these are slow, steady, strategic things that we can do. These are the things that activate our values. I talked about intentionality just earlier, a few moments ago. Intentionality is huge. If you're not sure about what values to pick, a good general one is intentionality. Incredible. I know that the things in my life that I am not intentional about always lag behind in progress. I never drift towards improvement, always drift away from improvement. That's just who we are as humans most of the time. Intentionality, if it's your physical well-being, if it's your emotional, mental, spiritual well-being, just know that you're probably not going to ever improve by accident or by random or just wake up one day and be better. It's usually the opposite. So intentionality. So what can I do? Start writing those things down. There's an old saying, it's probably in this book somewhere, I don't know, that says we're generally 2 or 3 decisions away from becoming the best versions of ourselves. Just think about that for a moment. Just 2 or 3 decisions, and typically we know what they are. Something to do with our health. Usually it's physical health. We're just a couple decisions away from drastically improving who we are on a day-to-day basis. So I go through several examples in the application. Talked about intentionality, gratitude, awareness, and mindfulness were part of my initial values list, and I had a list of things I did to make them happen with my principles. I had to fight for them. I think I'm in the start of year 5 for me, and I'm still doing all these things. They've just become who I am, part of my life. And some days I drift away and I have to pull myself back. I still get caught up in negative situations. I allow myself to get caught up in negative situation, and I'll check myself and go, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing that thing again, where I allow life or circumstance or a person or situation to infringe on the quality of my day. And then I recognize it's happening. I draw myself out of it, and then I don't dwell on it. I just move on, process it for a moment, evaluate, hey, this is one of those things I didn't have control over maybe. I walked into a situation. You're not going to be perfect. Values and principles will help guide you in those moments and always pull you back to center. So I hope you enjoyed this chapter. Check out the questions. Write down some thoughts that came to you and discuss it if you're in a group. So can't wait to see you guys on the next one.